Hello, and welcome to Knights of the Night Actual Play Podcast. This 5th edition D&D adventure, The Heretic, was written and run by your DM, Scott. And now, please enjoy episode 493, titled, We Aren't an Open Hand of Amira, We Are the Fists of Amira. Actual play begins immediately.
Hello, this is your DM, Scott, running this 5e adventure, The Heretic. With me tonight, starting on my right, is...
I'm Tom, and I'm playing Alder Rusha, a human cleric and a rogue who is learning new skills every day.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm playing Marduk, a male half-orc fighter, graduate of the Academy, and an Eldritch Knight of the Fist of Amira.
I'm John, and I'm playing Melody, female human cleric, third of the Exemplar family Harmony. I'm an ex-ambassador turned political operative in the Fists of Amira.
And I'm Thomas. I'll be playing Gabrielle DeAngelis. She's a female Aasimar paladin and a holy fist of Amira, who's unknowingly taken the first steps towards her destined oath of conduct.
All right, where we left off last week was the battle raged on. The Fists of Amira attempted to parlay at first with the Broodmother, hoping to get the release of the Soul Guard so that they could rescue the warriors and form some sort of truce, if you will, with the Broodmother and whatever else is in her lair. That quickly fell apart as the Broodmother refused to release the Soul Guard from their bewitching spell that she had them under with her song. The group became frustrated with her machinations and decided to reinitiate the combat. One by one, they made their way up the rock slide towards the entrance that had recently been finally uncovered by the Soul Guard under the thrall of the Broodmother. We ended the session with both Gabrielle, who displayed some incredible ability that no one knew she had by sprouting angelic wings from her back, flying to the top of the rock slide into the entrance of the cavern 70 feet above the ground and enter into it. And soon after that, Melody had made her way to the precipice as well. Not to forget that Marduk had fought his way up the rock slide and was close to the edge in the lip of the cavern as well. So we left off with several individuals either at the entrance or about to be at the entrance, as Alder also made his way up the rock slide, but was a little ways down still. And that's where we left off. So this week we're going to start off re-rolling initiative, because we kind of went out of initiative and went back to initiative, and now there's no one actually to fight at this exact moment. But Gabrielle does see forms in the distance as she looks and peers through a darkened cavern.
I rolled a total of 9.
Marduk rolled a natural 1 for a total of 2.
Woohoo! Alder rolled a 10.
Melody also rolled a 10.
Rodor, since he's not here tonight, he twisted his ankle coming off of a rock, trying to make his way across the road to the rock slide on the north side of the road, and is in extreme pain and kind of pinned between two boulders and is out of action for the rest of this combat. Also with Brother Byron, the horses are panicked with the smell and the scent of strange creatures and hideous monsters, and he's keeping the horses under control so that your cart and all your possessions don't go charging off lost forever. I will roll for the Broodmother. A 4. Gabrielle can see now in the distance what looks to be a harpy in the hallway, at least one. And I will roll for the harpies as well. 8 for the harpies. Okay, I am going to switch back and forth from battle maps because we have inside the cavern and we have outside the cavern, which many people are still at. Let me do a quick switch to the interior of the cavern, which hopefully will only show what Gabrielle can see. Gabrielle, just to give you a quick rundown, you see a wide cavern, 3 nests that are just nasty, filled with branches and twigs and bones and pieces of clothing and armor. You see 4 stalagmites coming up from the floor that kind of block your view a little bit in the distance throughout the cavern, kind of spaced one closest to you off to your left, two in the center of the room, and then one a little farther to the north along the western wall. And then, as you could see, there is a harpy in a hallway about 50 or 60 feet away from you. What do you do?
Is my turn first? Or are we
Your
just
turn is
starting
not
at
first.
my
I don't know what the hell I'm thinking, because you're the only one that's up there. So
Yeah.
actually, the guardsmen go at 18. You have one guardsman that is engaged with you, so he will attack you. He rolled a natural 1, so it's an automatic failure. There is a guardsman that is closest to Gabrielle and Mel, but that's attacking up. I think he's going to actually make a difficult attack with disadvantage, 5 feet almost straight up to Gabrielle in the entranceway of the cavern. The first roll is 18, and the second roll is 15. So he'll take the 15 as the disadvantage roll. Does that hit you, Gabrielle?
No, our armor class is 16.
Oh, nice. He swings his longsword up, kind of twists in his hand a little bit, and the back, like a flat edge of the sword, strikes your leg, but bounces off with no damage done at all. And then the captain, the veteran captain himself, attacks up. Again, I'm going to give him disadvantage because he's attacking 5 feet almost straight upwards against Marduk. A 19 and a 6. So he gets the 6, unfortunately, which Marduk, I know, does not hit you. And that is the end of the guardsman's turn. So that will take us then at that point to Alder.
So I climb up 5 feet.
Which is your move action and does not pause opportunity attack.
So I was next to one guy and I moved 1 square. I'm still next to him. And now I've engaged the second one. And then I am using my cunning action to disengage. But I'm only moving 5 feet because I don't want to roll.
Putting yourself in the middle of 3 guardsmen.
Yeah, not the best move.
Not for the rogue, usually, but hey.
And then I know that I can take my action and make it a movement. Can I take it and make it a disengage action?
I see no reason why you couldn't use disengage twice because of your cunning action. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't do that, to the best of my knowledge, as written.
And that puts me side by side with Gabrielle in the cave. Correct.
Yes. Literally at this point, Alder, Melody is 5 feet above you, and she is dangling and like straining to pull herself up. So if you were to move into her square, you'd have a chance of dislodging her because you'd be in the same square as her.
Right. Is there any way I can parkour up this wall and make a dexterity roll rather than a strength roll?
Yeah, you could make an acrobatics check if you want as you disengage to move that last 5 feet by grabbing onto the ledge right next, like sharing a square with Melody and not dislodging her. If you fail by more than 5, you may dislodge her because you're in the same square.
Don't know what I'm rolling for, but
3 combatants surrounding you. Mel going into the same square that Mel is straining to get up. I'm going to give it at least a moderate difficulty of 15.
Okay, I really wish I had a inspiration. I do not. Here we go.
Good luck. Oh!
Yeah. I rolled a 5.
So you stay in your square. You do not advance up, but you hit into Melody. Melody, I'd like you to make a dexterity saving throw, please, to try to maintain your grasp. You need to beat a 10. Holy.
Yeah, I don't need wings.
No, you don't need any stinking wings.
I rolled a 19 plus 1.
Okay. So you definitely hang on tight. One hand came off, but your one hand that you was holding on held on firmly so you could put the other hand back up again and start pulling yourself up. But that's where you're at currently. That's Alder's turn at 10. That takes us to Melody at 10.
I'm going to crawl through this thing like I tried to do before. I guess I'm pulling myself up into it.
Not a problem. You don't have to make a strength check or anything. You just pull yourself up 5 feet safely.
Because I can move 5 feet without doing anything.
Without doing anything, without causing any kind of difficulties. You're standing at the cusp of the cave entrance. You see the same thing that Gabrielle saw. 3 ratty, nasty-looking big nests. You see some stalagmites, dark cave where at the very edge of your sight you can see what looks to be still medium-sized, but a smaller, maybe like 5 or 6 foot tall harpy, as opposed to the brood mother, who's more a 7 foot tall creature. This one has a lot less feathers. It has arms and wings, where the brood mother had claws attached to her wings, so it was a little bit different of a situation with the way she was formed and the way she looked. Very nasty looking creature, has its back to you right now, seemingly half flying, half
Hopping.
hobbling down this hallway in the distance to the north.
Okay. I only moved 5 feet, so here I go sprinting down between 2 stalagmites, past the majority of the nests, trying to catch up and see if I can end this fight now and no more people have to get hurt by taking out the broodmother.
Okay, but you knew from looking at these creatures that the one that has its back to you that you
It's
can
not the
see
broodmother.
is
Yes.
not the broodmother. It's an actual harpy.
That's why I'm
a
trying to
regular
get
harpy.
closer so I can see further.
Gotcha. Right now, at the angle you're at, you can't quite see further up the hallway.
Turns
the
left.
hallway, it's north of you and turns to the west, concealing more of the hallway and what's happening there.
I can use a double move to get closer.
You could, if you want to use your dash action as your action. 15,
Yeah,
20,
I'm going to get
12.
right up to them and try to see what I can. It's going to give them an opportunity, not necessarily a reaction to attack, but on their turn. But I'm going to do that.
Working.
And that is running right up to the tail end of this group and trying to lean around the corner with a crossbow. I'm not going to be able to take a shot, but that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so that is what you see. The hallway opens up, or the twisting passageway opens up. It goes to the northwest another 30, 35 feet, and you're able to see because of your ability to see in the dark, which is a little bit different.
It's an ability.
There is. You see a couple more harpies blocking the hallway again, kind of half flying, half scampering their way down this passageway, blocking the rest of your view because there's 3 of them very close to you.
There are just these 3, and I do not see the mother?
You can't see further down the hall because the 3 of them at various heights, like some of them, they're hopping and their wings are flapping and they're beating against the side of the walls. And that is Melody at 10, which takes us to Gabrielle.
Can you swoop over him?
That's a good question, and I guess I'll ask that. Would I have to make a ability roll to maneuver my way through these foes?
Yes, the northwest passageway that they're currently in is only about maybe 8 foot tall, and they're 5.5, 6 foot tall, and they have wings on the back of their backs. If you want to try to move past them, you would be giving yourself up to 3 opportunity attacks and a acrobatics roll to try to maneuver in a really tight space. But I'm not going to say it's impossible because that's no fun.
That'll be fun indeed. It is a bonus action. All right, I spend a spell slot to cast Sanctuary upon myself. You remember that spell I still have on Melody? Well, I probably don't because Melody's definitely made an attack since I cast that spell on her. But it means that anyone who tries to strike me must roll a wisdom save against my DC of 12, or they don't get to attack me. And then, that's a bonus action, I'll spend my 60 feet of movement to whip over the 2 nests on the east side of the cave, and then exactly 60 feet of movement puts me on top of the last harpy in that chain, which is not ideal.
That is so not ideal as to be humorous.
But knowing that she's about to head into some really close quarters kerfuffles, Gabrielle drops her pole hammer and draws her sword and shield as she rushes her movement to charge through these harpies. She bundles up behind her shield in an effort to put all her mass behind protection and just crash through a whole bunch of wings that weren't made to block physical things.
You have to concentrate on your sanctuary spell.
No, I do
require
not.
Concentration.
It does
so you can
not.
have 2 of them going at once, one for Mel and one for you.
Indeed,
Mine
I can.
expired because it expires when you attack someone. I
Yes.
made hostile intent, so it's gone.
Exactly.
Got it.
I don't intend to deal these folks damage, but it will break the second I do, so that's fun. All right, 60 feet of movement puts me right on top of this other harpy, and then you want me to roll. That's even if I make it. You want me to roll?
Yeah, the first thing you'll have to do is roll an acrobatics check. I'm going to have you make that acrobatics check. It's difficult. I think you could appreciate, based on the description, that this is a very heroic maneuver and very challenging. So it's going to be to make that first square into the narrow hallway that the very first harpy is blocking. I'm going to have a DC 18 acrobatics check. 15 is average, so I'm going to give it 3 above average to say that if you're going to fly into that square, that's what needs to happen.
I'm not going to get that, but I'm going to roll for it.
I'm going to like to see you try.
Woo! Hell yes! What an appropriate time to roll a critical one. All right, Gabrielle's very first acrobatic flight maneuver ends terribly.
I duck.
Yeah, that's an appropriate. She comes in probably way too fast to maneuver.
Way too fast. Clips Mel, smacks into the back of the first harpy blocking the passageway. And I'm going to say you fall prone in the square just to the right of Mel, just to the east of her. Very awesome attempt, but probably a very appropriate roll. Gabrielle, you went at 9. That takes us to the harpies at 8. I'm going to have it make a strength check not to have fallen over, being slammed in the back by you. So they get a +1 on their strength checks, but I'm going to give you kind of like a little bit of an advantage for slamming into her. And she rolled a 17. I was going for just an average or an easy 10 to stay up. And then she turns around and faces you and Mel. The other harpies continue to move down the passageway until they disappear around the corner. So there's one harpy that is still in the hallway. She is going to lash out and make one claw attack, and in her other hand she's carrying a club. So she's going to make 2 attacks. I'm going to roll. She doesn't know before she attacks that you have that spell on you, the sanctuary spell. So I'm not going to make that a disadvantage for you, but you are on the ground and prone, which gives her advantage. So she probably would attack you. So what does she have to roll again? She has to roll a wisdom save above a 12?
Absolutely correct.
Okay. Their wisdom is 10, so it's a 0. And she rolls a 13, which allows her to attack you. She's going to claw you first. So she rolls a 19. +3 is 22, which is a hit. 7 damage with her claw attack as she rakes across your exposed neck area and just draws blood with her vicious attack. You have a reaction? Don't you have something that allows you? Oh, that's to interfere with someone else being attacked, correct?
Indeed. I can't use it for myself. They patched that out after beta testing.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Shame.
So she cries out in pain because she hasn't really been struck that hard yet.
Okay. I doubt not that she cries out in pain. It was a vicious, those talons are really long and broken and dirty, and it's disgusting. She then takes her club and puts it in with one hand because she attacked with the other and slams down with a 19 with the club, striking you again in the middle of your chest, and she does a total of 5 damage with the club. Pretty effective attack for the harpy, but not the least of which I didn't even have to roll for either one of them. I should have, because you were prone. They have advantage. So I'm rolling again really quick just to make sure they didn't do a crit. And I did roll a natural 20 with the second attack with the club, which is a 4 twice. So it's a total of 9 damage. 4, 4, and 1. Instead of 5 damage, it's 9. So you definitely feel the effects of a crushing blow with a club. And in the distance, you hear the broodmother calling out, "Parley! Parley! Leave, and I will release them. Our entrance is now open. Parley!" She screams out. That was the broodmother at 4, and that's what she does. And then Marduk, you're up at 2.
Okay, I was right at the opening of the cave entrance.
You could just step in 5 feet.
All right, I come into the cave. I see with my dark vision what's happening. Did I hear the call for parley? Do I have a chance to detect that, or?
Yeah, her voice is booming. You can hear that outside the cave entrance.
Okay. Then I will come in, and instead of burning that thing down where I see it with a spell, I will come up and double move and take a position. I'll be ready to throw another firebolt if things go south.
Okay, you are the last person to go this turn.
Yep.
So you won't be able to hold it. Like, a new turn starts and it's a new turn.
Right, I understand.
Okay. That is the end of Marduk's turn. Do you say anything, Marduk? Do you use your words at all, or do you...
Nope. If she's called for a parley, I'm going to listen, but I'm ready to end this very quickly and bloodily. We're way behind schedule here.
Gotcha. Okay, that takes us to the guardsman at 16. Alder finds himself in a very disadvantageous position.
Yeah, you guys all leave. That's okay. I got this.
I got all 3 of them who are surrounding me as I hang by a thread from the entranceway. Actually, you fell back down to your secure footing where you're at, 5 foot below the entranceway to the cave. But yes, you've got a veteran and 2 guardsmen who are absolutely going to use their longswords and attack you. I'm going to do the guardsman to your right, so the one on the eastern side of you first, and he rolled a 9. I'm assuming a 12 does not hit you, Alder?
That's correct. My armor class is 15.
All right, so he swings high and you duck as the sword clambers off the rocks above your head and sparks fly, but no damage is done. The guardsman who is south of you and below you 5 feet as well makes his attack with disadvantage. He rolls a natural 1. He actually drops his weapon. He went to attack you, swung for your leg, you leapt in the air, and the sword went underneath you, and he caught the stone that you were standing on instead, and the sword spins out of his hand and falls to his feet. You ducked 1, leapt above the second attack, getting your calisthenics in for the day. Now you're facing the veteran, who is on the same level as you to your west or to your left, and he rolled a 17. So he gets a 22, which I'm fairly certain is a hit.
Yes.
And he rolls a die 8 plus 3 for his damage. So I rolled a 7 for a total of 10 damage. So you ducked, you leapt, and then he caught you right in the thigh, and you feel some blood spurt out from your side as you take the damage. But considering the fact that you're being attacked by 3 different individuals, it's amazing you're still
alive
at that point. Yeah. Your turn.
I was just trying to guess if maybe Melody needed to go before me, and I don't think that's the case.
No, I'm good.
All right. Bonus action to move the 5 feet, disengaging from them.
Using your
cunning action.
Right. So you use that as a bonus action.
So I enter the cave, and I can see a bunch of, well, more than a few nests, right?
Yeah, so 3 nests,
and
4 stalagmites, and you're a human, so it gets dark really quick. Now, it is light outside. It is day. You can see dim light for 60 feet, so you can barely make out the harpy as it just savages Gabrielle on her back as she's laying further to the north in the cavern. You see Mel as well, looking aghast and worried about her friend. And you see Marduk preparing, he has his hand up, and he looks as if he's preparing to cast a spell. You also heard what the broodmother said, if you so care.
The spear is probably a light. I don't know. I don't want to put words.
Great point. So the dim light is no more, right, Marduk? You have that spear lit up like Christmas.
Yep.
So I travel across, heading towards the light, going through the center of this cave. I'm still a bit behind, but that's just my movement.
Right.
I have an action. Yeah, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save my action. I have 1 spell slot left.
Okay.
And I could heal myself, but I don't know that I'm going to need to heal myself. I might need to heal someone else. So I am going to save that. Instead, use cantrip thaumaturgy, in which I am attempting to imitate the harpy and yell out of the cave what she just said, which is leave. And I'm talking to the guardsman and I don't think it's going to work. I think she does a mind control as opposed to a actual voice that they hear. But what the heck? I have a free action. And so I do lousy performance. I roll a 9.
A 9, which you roll a 7 plus 2 is 9, right? Good try.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that didn't work. But
right.
I turn back and look at the rest of the group and then shrug.
I tried. And that takes us to Melody at 10.
I don't know much about grappling, but mostly I want to shove this bird away.
You can do a push action. You can try to push her with your hands 5 feet away.
Yeah, I have a staff that might be a better thing to push her with because apparently she's gross.
Yeah, she's very gross, smelly and oily skin and hair and
a bath and a good upbringing could do these people wonders.
So you take your staff and say, "Stay away from my friend," and jab it in your ribs.
I'm going to push her away, and I'm going to get between her and Gabrielle.
Okay, well, let's do the action first, which is the push action. You make a strength check.
Uh-huh. That's a 6. Beat that, harpy.
Okay, so your athletic
+1.
check of a 6, and the harpy gets a +1 on her roll. She is going to try to dodge it with her dexterity, which is +1, which is also her strength, so it doesn't matter, but I think thematically a dodge is more in order here. I rolled a natural 1. I'm assuming you choose to push her back 5 feet?
Yeah, further
Not
down
only
the
does
corridor.
she fall 5 feet back, she falls prone. So that takes us to Melody's move action, which you move forward 5 feet to place yourself between her and
Yeah,
Gabrielle.
it's a defensive stance. Like, visual language is not aggressive.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you take the staff and you place it in both hands and bar the way.
Yes.
Like put it forward and bar the way instead of holding it above your head like you're going to strike her again.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that works. So that takes us to Gabrielle at 9.
Okay, diplomacy time.
Get off your ass time, actually.
Sure. I get up. And then it's diplomacy time.
Most diplomats do it on their ass.
It's a very comfortable seat in their butts. You want us to leave, Gabrielle calls out, but your thralls are still guarding the door. I don't want to have to fight them on the way out. If I give you my solemn word, we'll leave. I need you to drop that. I roll for diplomacy again. Been a hot minute.
Persuasion, I think is what you mean.
Persuasion is the correct skill. Rolled a total of 10, but I rolled a natural 1, so I don't think that's a success. This is going great, because I rolled a 1.
The advantage here is that she called for parlay and wanted to hear some good news back that you wanted to parlay. So I'm going to actually, your natural 1 is hilarious and we should just roll with that as part of the evening's festivities. But with all honesty, before you rolled, I was just about to say roll with advantage.
Oh. Radical. Let me roll one more time then.
Don't roll a 1 again, please.
I would really like not to roll a 1 again. So I
roll at least a
instead
2.
Roll a 24. It doesn't sound like I'm dripping blood all over a carpet. It rather sounds like the honeyed words of a divine, beauteous angel, because that's what it is.
Do you have a spell to back that up, or is it a
I
racial
do.
ability? It already puts your proficiency and stats in there. It must be something else.
It's a channel divinity option that would require some explanation that you guys don't understand.
That's fine. I don't need it. She said, I'd
18
rather
seconds?
die, and now she's like, hold up. Maybe I
I
don't
might
want to
die, though. So for a total of 24, your thralls who are guarding the door prevent us from leaving your humble abode. We need guarantees of their safety, and then we're more than happily leave.
Go to the entrance. They will stay outside. They will not come in. Go to the entrance and sheathe your weapons, and I will release them.
I look over at Alder. I'm done fighting. Someday, maybe we can return. We'll be stronger on the return journey, and if she's still here, we'll clear out this shitty little nest, but this is not the day we win this fight. I am about to die, by the way.
I take a step closer to Marduk.
Okay.
You said you have a fireball?
Firebolt, but it'll hurt.
I look up at the ceiling. Any way you can
No.
close off this tunnel?
I have a spell that might bring it down that should cover our escape.
You're talking in hushed voices, of course, right?
I started by saying I was whispering.
We made a deal with this creature. I'm not okay with you breaking it just because you don't like it.
This creature's already broke faith with us twice now.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's be as shitty as the harpy.
Let's
No.
head towards the exit and let her know.
We're leaving. Can we break initiative? Is everyone cool with that?
I am.
Yeah.
How bad are you looking, Gabrielle?
I'm looking like
Health-wise?
I've lost 5/6 of my health pool. I'm bleeding
She's
everywhere.
battered. She's got a
see,
huge scrape
that-
on her neck.
That would be very evident. And
It's a pretty
I
deep wound.
just give a soft prayer to Amira, grab the soul shard, and whisper a prayer to Amira, and heal you for 7 points.
Now I only look half dead. She
It's
gives
best
you
I can do.
One smile and a thumbs up. Gabrielle recovers her pull hammer and makes for the door, keeping a wary eye on her friends in case they try and make her a liar.
Okay. The one harpy that is in the hallway is watching intently.
I turn back towards that harpy and say, we're at the doorway. I look out of the cave. Are the soul guard there? Do they look like they're still possessed?
Yes, they're still there, and they still look menacing from a distance. She said, sheath your weapons. I wasn't sure if everyone had sheathed their weapon.
I do so.
I definitely do that. You can't really
I
sheath
can't
the
sheath a
staff.
stick. No. It's
Right.
a stick.
The one harpy that's watching calls back to her brood mother. They've complied. And you hear some words come from the brood mother. You are free now. Go in peace. The eyes of the soul guard are no longer glazed over, and they look confused. Don't get me wrong. They're like, what the hell is there standing there on this rock slide, precariously perched above the ground far below? But they're very confused and seem very dazed and don't understand what's going on.
At the entrance, I hold out a hand as if, step down, ladies, let's go. And I look over to Marduk and kind of look at the tunnel and shrug. Not really a shrug, but like cock my head sideways and look at him like, yes, no, your call.
I grunt non-committally, but head towards the, I'm going last anyway, so.
Yes. So
I'm kind of covering the retreat or the exodus, so Melody right now is in the bottleneck here. I would prefer that she move along, so I'll be waiting to go last.
Okay. Without further ado, everyone can make their way down the rock slide in 5-foot increments, very slowly, very carefully, along with the guardsmen who are still very confused. And I'm sure you guys are probably explaining something to them about what happened. There's one of the guardsmen that are unconscious on the rocks up high as well.
He was asleep, so you could wake him up normally.
Right, exactly.
If Marduk and I are the last two to leave the cave, I stop and whisper to him, we could trap them in here and they'd never be able to hurt people like they just did. Wouldn't be killing them, would be trapping them.
Specifically said I'm watching for my friends to make me a liar.
Yes, you did. So you're climbing your way down carefully and gingerly, and you look up and you see.
Or you could be right
Alder.
on the rocks right by the entrance of the cave, because
Yeah,
So you
I'm
make your
waiting
way down.
for them to leave
you could
last.
fly down.
I'll fly down when the rest of you are done. I don't imagine that
Yeah.
you're going to whisper that in front of me, now that you know that I'm right there.
I
Please,
whisper
redo
it
if you
so that Marduk can hear me. Whether you can
Fair
hear
enough.
me, I don't know.
Make a perception check, Gabrielle, with disadvantage. And the reason for that is you're in a wind tunnel now outside in the mountain pass. So it's a lot harder.
Okay. I rolled a total of 11. Don't know what Marduk's rolling for.
Decision.
Oh, he's not sure. Marduk
Highs
is.
and lows. Gotcha.
So you see body language that looks somewhat suspicious,
Mhm.
Gabrielle. It's not for sure. You just see Alder lean towards
Mm-hmm.
a Marduk at the entrance to the cave.
Yeah.
Or in this case, as you're leaving the exit to the cave. And you don't pick up any words, you don't pick up any sound because of the wind blowing so aggressively, but you do see him lean towards him, which could he have lost his balance a bit on these rocks and stuff? Maybe. But that's what you see.
Okay.
And you don't hear anything.
Gabrielle settles for leveling her best glare at Marduk to let him know how she feels about the idea that was already been floated. And rolls a sweet 17 for something that has no mechanical weight.
You get the death eyes from Gabrielle Marduk. You hear what Alder has to say, and then you turn your head to see if Gabrielle is still there, and she's glaring at you in that moment.
I kind of look back at Gabriel and say, knock that shit out. Just go on down. And then I turn to Alder, not today, but we'll come back and we'll sort these motherfuckers out later.
We'll be stronger on the return journey. It won't even be a thing.
Let's go.
You made the right decision today.
You're changing my mind. All right? Let's just...
I'm holier than thou, she says, as she literally floats on angelic wings. I gotta be.
All right. And we'll end it with everyone gathering at the bottom.
So
we'll end it.
You can.
We'll end it? We'll end it with everyone making their way carefully back down the rock slide to the gathered guardsmen below, to Rodor, who has shaken off his injury and is limping his way towards you, and to Brother Byron, who has led the horses now and calmed them and led them to where you're at in the pass right now. You've disengaged from the harpies. You've allowed them to live another day. For good or for woe, you allowed them to live. You look at the road ahead and see that it's barely past midday, and you've got a lot of mountain paths still to cross.
Mm.
Thanks, everyone, for listening tonight. Appreciate you joining us for this, well, anticlimactic, but yeah.
And I cast my witch bolt at the opening of the cave, and I create an avalanche and seal up the cave.
You can try it.
No, I'm kidding.
Right, I figured you were, but I wasn't. I was waiting to make sure.
Putting up with my weird paladin bullshit, everybody.
Not a problem. Hey, you got to role play your character, Thomas, and you did a great job, and so did Alder. Alder played his role.
I wasn't talking about killing. I was talking about sealing.
You were talking about making an angel a liar, which is kind of rude, but
we were
whatever.
going to attack a person.
What exactly did you state?
I hate your definition of people.
Yeah, the agreement was that we would leave the entrance unsealed.
A creature, right.
I'm sorry.
Go on.
You said exactly that? I didn't hear it.
No, I made the agreement to her stated demands, which were the entrance is open, go leave, and I will undo these people's troubles.
Haven't you ever closed a door when you left a room?
Yeah,
not
I
an
closed
in-character
the door,
argument.
and then I deadbolted it, and then I put a chair in front of it, and then I put some cement on top, and I said, those orphans sure going to be able to get out of here. All right, point is, I made my deal. I was holding to my word of it, as far as I understood it, which is where a paladin's word is important.
We're not the open hand of Amira, we're the fist of Amira.
I'm going to clap.
Boom, baby.
I think it's really a good dynamic that's really starting to approach itself now, or show itself now, is that you do have a paladin in your midst. And there's a big difference between a cleric. I know Brother Byron would have probably handled that a lot differently. And certainly Alder, with a little bit of cleric in him, handled it differently. But a paladin's a whole different subject, especially the type of paladin that Thomas has decided to play. So I think it's going to be an interesting point where it'll be friction, hopefully good-natured and hopefully not too trying at times, but hey, it's kind of what the situation is.
Just for the record, you say a little bit of cleric. I spent my entire life learning religion and studying to be a cleric.
Sorry, good point.
When I went out on the road, life is different. I need to be someone else. I need to be better at skills than worshiping a god that's missing.
I think this combat encounter in particular, Gabrielle wouldn't mind coming back and being the big stompy, kill all these problems. It's just, this was not the day for that, and then I made a promise that I didn't want to go back on while trying to get us out of.
It's not like you were all creatures, great and small, need to be protected. These things are evil. You just felt like you guys weren't in a good position with with Grodor injured, with Brother Byron calming horses, to take on a brood mother and 3 harpies in their lair, which you don't even know what was around that corner.
I intended to.
There's a dragon.
Drop a big threatening.
Yeah, they had a
speech
harpy
about
dragon.
How when we got back, we were going to kick her ass, but then they tore my throat out, and it felt like that would be really difficult to sell, that we're going to be so awesome, and also I'm bleeding all over your nice carpet.
Right.
Ignore that.
Yeah, I was looking forward to the battle. It had potential to be really deadly and exciting, and it ended up not going there at all. Speaking as a DM, it was a tough battle, and I was really hesitant to play tonight. I was like, Jim's not going to be here, and we've called it when other people haven't been able to make it, so maybe we should call it tonight. And then everyone kind of wanted to go with it, so I'm like, okay, we'll give it a shot, and I'll just.
I definitely wanted to be over with the fight.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want it to drag into a 4th week. Wanted to get it over with already and get back on the road. So, yeah, I was looking forward to it, but hey, best laid plans. They always go astray. Thank you all for listening tonight. I appreciate you being with us for this battle and then negotiation and then battle again.
Thank you for listening to Knights of the Night Actual Play Podcast. If you'd like to send us a question, comment, or feedback, you can reach us in a number of ways, including Twitter @KOTN_podcast or by emailing us at feedback@KOTNpodcast.com. And don't forget the iTunes reviews. We also have a Facebook page which can be found at facebook.com/KOTN.podcast. While on Facebook, you can join like-minded folks at our fan page at facebook.com/groups/KOTN-fan. And lastly, there's our blog at KOTNpodcast.com, where there's an Amazon link on the right-hand side for those of you who'd like a more steady way to help us pay the bills. Or if you live outside the U.S., you can help by donating to our Patreon page at patreon.com/KOTN. And please remember to join us next week for more mystery and adventure. I'd like to have a discussion with all the players and the GM to figure out what we're going to do about the session 0 recordings that we've done with the GM, each of us doing a separate recording, talking about our character's history and background and secrets, as it were. And why I wish to have some kind of discussion about this is because last episode, one of our characters did something that none of us knew about. Now, if I release this at the same time as that episode, people will know what I'm talking about. But I had a discussion with some of my co-players, and my concern is, as the editor, I haven't listened to any of those. I obviously know my session 0, but none of the others. And I don't think we want to wait till the end of the entire storyline and then tell a story that everybody knows already. I think it would be a certain tipping point where there's enough where people would be surprised if we share a little more by the session 0, but it would also kind of clarify or tell them, oh yeah, what you were thinking was right. This is what's happening. But I don't know when that point is. It's certainly not the same for every player. So any thoughts on how we want to do this? Do each of you think you have like one major event that was in the session 0 that once it's kind of shown to the other players that is when we release the session 0?
As a DM, I can't really comment because I don't have a character in the game with the session 0, so I'm going to let everyone else dictate how they want their session 0 released because I'm comfortable with whatever we decide as a group.
Well, that's going to make sense.
Well, for myself, I think I've been proudly displaying I don't think any of the other aspects I learned from my session 0, I've really integrated play as much as getting the spear, so.
There's no other secrets in your session 0 that you're afraid would be revealed to the audience before dramatic payoff is reached?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any heavier or significant secret. I mean, I know I do have like the one thing, but I don't know really how that's going to be integrated or played. And some people have some suspicion, but I haven't been really playing that aspect of it very.
No, I blocked out those with a beep.
Right. So I guess the thing is that I'm holding the spear of Amira like it's a blazing torch, because to me it's a symbol of our God's presence and existence in the world, or at least for me, a tangible proof or tangible evidence.
But you don't think when we go back to the place that your tribe, your nation, your people, that's going to become more relevant for you to let us know about?
Well, the closer we get to where I had come from, I suppose, so far it was my understanding that...
Boy, I'm going to have to cut that out, Mike.
Yeah.
Dude, you're just terrible with spoilers.
I'm making up. I thought we were just talking about. Are we talking? Okay.
We're literally recording it for a reason, because I want potentially to release this and have maybe the listeners to give some feedback on it, right?
Okay.
Which is no problem.
They want to hear our secrets.
Because perhaps I'm trying not to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know how to say it other than I know what my history was, and I was probably feeling very negative and very confused and unhappy or disillusioned, and the fact that the spirit has come into my possession is a sign of faith, or that it's being a little bit of a restoration of hope. And that might lead to the other things. If this is coming to me and I found it, then maybe what I thought was lost or what I no longer had is also somewhere to be found.
The problem with this
is that big enough?
Yeah, no, that works. That worked well. Thank you. The problem with this is that there's only two people that know each of these session zeros. And last episode, Gabrielle sprouted wings and flew up. And I looked over at the person I grew up with along with Gabrielle and went, well, that's new. Now, is that the key component to the session zero, or are there other secrets that are way more important or way more intriguing or interesting for the character? I don't know. You guys recorded it. I've had it sitting on my drive. I have not listened to it, so I don't know any of yours. I know mine. And I could talk to the GM and say, here's the place where we've let enough out that the listeners can be trying to guess and, I have this theory. And then we can say, this is it. And they go, see, I had it. Or, I was close, or whatever. I'm just saying that's much better in my mind to wait to the end and then release all the session zeros and everybody go, yeah, we knew all that. What's that? Why would it be important at the very, very end of the adventure when maybe Mel has a secret? She's been doing things that are like, that's different, and is there some point where Mel says, now? Or does the GM say it? Or do they both say it?
GM said he doesn't want to say it. I'd say it's up to the player when they feel they've revealed enough of the secrets, which, by the way, I haven't.
All right.
I would suggest maybe from storytelling principles that flashbacks are usually a middle act kind of reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I'm kind of suggesting. But the thing is, I don't think we just in the middle of the season do all the flashbacks. No, I think it's important for when something happens that's relative to that character and their history, then they could say, yeah, you should probably release that now to give a little bit more.
Yeah, I would agree with that it needs to be character specific to their background and to what happens to them and how much they feel has been revealed and how much they're comfortable with putting out there.
In that case, I would suggest that because Gabrielle chose a moment to reveal one of her hidden powers or secrets, that would be your entryway into, like, that's a WTF moment, and like, okay, well, and here's a little bit about why that's a thing. And so,
but that's why I brought the subject up, and I had a specific conversation with Gabrielle Thomas, and he said, no, she's got other more important secrets. And I'm like, okay.
To remember, but yeah, there's something really, really untouched in there that would just be blown out of importance.
Now, the other thing is that I'm mentioning the GM because sometimes we forget. And they could remind us, not necessarily, as Scott's saying, he doesn't want to say, oh, yeah, you should do that now. But there's no reason that he can't say, hey, do you think this is a good idea? Because he's the only one that's going to know, other than the player, right?
Yep, makes sense.
So we can go with that, but we can also leave it open for our email, our blog, our Facebook page, if any of the listeners want to give a suggestion on when they want to hear it, or if they like this idea or whatnot. And then we can modify if they come up with a better idea than we have.
Yeah, sometimes they do.
Absolutely. All right, let's get back to it then.
Okay, so that was good that you didn't knock Mel down the rock slide. Now
Very well. I'll stop muting myself.
I don't want to be judgmental here, but we can both decide who goes first. And I don't know why I wouldn't have her go first to get the hell out of the way. But we're going to delete that out and we'll just go.
Yeah, let's just go with that. That makes a hell of a lot more sense. I just saw.
No, I'm not re-rolling. Just go with it. It's not the old school where my DX is higher, so I go first. It's totally up to us who goes first.
Yeah, why don't we cut that off? Why don't we just
because I don't want to re-roll and
break your neck.
Just want to move on.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
I failed and I'm fine with failing. Hey, did you guys hear that Bob was hired as the guy who does the dice rolling programming for Roll20?
I did hear that. Yeah.
Because these are shit dice.
We had some good rolls before this in the game. Jim
got all of them.
Yeah, Jim had all the. And what are you kidding? There was a couple sessions back. I think you were completely on fire.
I'm used to rolling 20s. What are these lower numbers? What the heck?
Well, I've been rolling 1 all night long.
Hey, I'm blaming Bob. There's a tradition with the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
And you're rolling 1 all night long, and you already critted on Gabrielle, but whatever.
Yeah, I did. It just feels that way all the time. You guys have a good night. Next week we'll get back on the road and get some steps closer to your destination. And if anyone has anything they want me to say before I leave, please let me know.
Say
Malibu slab crab apple gelatini.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Malibu slab crab apple gelatini.
There you go. You did it.
All right. Guys, have a nice night. See you next week.
All right. Stop the recording. Other possible titles for this episode that were available for voting on the Facebook fan page were All Creatures Great and Small. Good show. A bath and good upbringing could do these people wonders. Parkour up this wall. An appropriate time to roll a critical 1. I don't need wings. And a harpy dragon?